Thank you for having me. Good afternoon to you.
All right. So talk to us about, you know, the concurrent inflation rate. And is there anything going on that the ordinary Nigeria do not know?
Right. I think it is expected that during the Yuletide or after Yuletide, we normally experience a slight increase in inflation. However, our legacy problem challenges are still there. You recall even when we have reduction in inflation last year, it was because of it's falling to farm produce period. So I think our legacy issue of cost push inflation, challenges of transportation, those ones are still there. And you don't forget that our forex problem is still there. So these are some of the factors that actually cause inflation. It's not only you see that consistently it has been increasing for some months now. I think we need to solve the major problems so as to have a reduction in inflation.
Do you agree with experts who say that it is policy errors, or what exactly do you think? Is it a matter of policy errors from the Tinubu administration?
To some extent, I would like to agree with them because you notice that since we have the CBN governor, he has tried different framework to make sure that the inflation comes. I recall he has actually, at a point, we're focusing on people that deal with cryptocurrency. At a point, we said is burrito exchange. At the point, we think we need to bring a ban on some items. So I think there is no well-coordinated and better solution to this problem. So I think to some extent, we'll still look at monetary policy. Also, you also apply what we call hawkish approach, whereby he's sacrificing growth, if you ask me, because he wanted to reduce the inflation. Now, how do I mean by sacrificing growth? You see that our NPR continue to increase while we have challenges in growth, and we cannot see the results on inflation. So for me, I agree with them that is the policy direction that is actually affecting us to an extent.
All right. Mr. Aliu, Nigeria's inflation, according to experts, is driven by economic challenges such as currency depreciation, high energy costs, and persistent supply chain disruptions. How can Nigeria get out of this quagmire?
Right. The sad part of inflation is that it kills purchasing power. You have 1 million naira, and before you know, it doesn't really have the value as it is, like it is mentioned. And these are the major problems that we actually are facing. So I think government needs to go back to the drawing board and make sure that they look into our challenges. The first thing is the issue of floating of naira and the issue of fuel subsidy removal. We cannot do without going back to that area. So the alternative that they plan to actually establish is what we are expecting that will happen. For instance, it was said that CNG will be available as alternative for fuel so that at least we will know that transportation can come down. Up to now, those that have actually converted their vehicle to CNG, up to now do not even have availability of CNG. They also spend 3 hours, and how many people have actually embarked on that? So until we solve the energy problem, and also the problem of transportation and cost of food problem. You recall even President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as of 2023, declared state of emergency on food security, having understand that that's the problem. But up to now, we have not seen the results coming out. So we want to see the result of those policy positively. I think that is what will drive down the challenges of this inflation.
Okay, let's veer away from that. Urban inflation was also higher than rural inflation, even as the action was mostly in the rural areas during the festive period. Rural inflation dropped by 2.32%. What's responsible for this?
Right. As you know, concentration actually is much more on urban. Even though people travel down to the rural area, they travel from the urban to the rural area. So, and there are more competition, more activities, much more are there. I think that's part of the reasons why it's like that.
All right, we must thank you so very much.